But I stayed seated. She exhaled sharply, unbuckling my seatbelt, then grabbed my arm and pulled me out of the car. She wasn't strong enough, so I ended up falling on the floor. "Hey," I shouted angrily, but when I saw her lips curled at the sides and her eyes wrinkle at the side trying to contain the laughter, I couldn't help but smile. "Sorry." She raised her hands into a defensive position and burst out into laughter. "I love Sam, she always makes me feel so much better in the darkest times of my life." Our laughter was halted when I saw something in the corner of my eye. Sam had parked next to all of the football team. I turned my head and my eyes met Ian. He looked like shit. He had gotten no sleep because of the bags under his eyes, and the red around his eyes was like mine, from crying. I had made him cry. I had made a strong and powerful man break and cry. He was staring at me, hope and sadness in his eyes, and he smiled weakly at me. I wanted to smile back. I wanted to rewind time and wish that none of this ever happened. But I had ruined it. I turned my head away from Ian before I broke out into tears and fall to the floor from the exhaustion. "Come on, Sam," I whispered. I started to walk away before I even got an answer from Sam, who stood for a moment, looking from me to Ian, giving Ian an apologetic look, then running after me. Third period. The lesson I was dredging all day, maths. I wasn't up for sitting in the same room with Ian, let alone sitting next to him. I opened the door, all the class had arrived before me, and as soon as I had took a step into the room, all the gossiping and laughing had stopped. All eyes were now on me, including Ian's. I guess mine and Ian's breakup had already made its way around school, but it didn't surprise me because Ian is the most eligible bachelor there is, so when the girls of our school hear he's available again, they pounce on him like a cat on a mouse. I made the dreaded walk to my desk, all eyes following every step I took, and I felt sick with all the attention now on me, all the eyes burning a deep hole in the side of my head. What, haven't they heard of a breakup in California before? I slipped into my seat. Not even risking a small glance at Ian, but I could feel his intense stare in the side of my head. "Please stop, please." Mr. K walked in and began his lesson, oblivious to the tension in the room, whereas I couldn't help but notice. I began to fidget. I felt like I was a fish in a glass bowl and everyone was looking in on me. I felt uncomfortable. I suddenly stood, squeaking my chair legs against the hard floor, forcing every head to turn to me. What was I doing? I tried to stop my body, but it was reacting on its own. I picked up my bag and ran out the door. Mr. K never said a word, instead he just stood there frozen, shocked. "Mia, stop. Please," Ian shouted behind me. Oh great, the last thing I needed. Knowing I wasn't going to stop. Ian picked up the pace until he was in front of me. "Move, I can't do this now. Not while the scars are still fresh on my heart." I pushed past him and rushed out the school doors, down the field and into the car park. I needed to leave. I thought I could handle being around Ian, but when I see him, when I look into his loving hazel eyes, it brings back the feelings, the love I feel. A hand circled my arm once more, twisting me to face him and into his hard chest. He hugged me tight, squeezing the life from me. I tried to push away, but his hold on me just got tighter and tighter. "Ian, please, don't." I couldn't hold it in any longer, being so close to Ian, in his warm and protective arms, and yet I couldn't hug him back. Hot tears began to stream down my cheeks and I began to weep into Ian's chest. "Oh baby, please don't cry." Ian kept his arms around me, but leaned back so he could see my face. He whipped a tear away with his thumb, keeping his hand on my cheek. "Why are you doing this? It's killing us both. I can see you don't want this. Shish, please don't cry. I love you. He really does love me. But he will never love me more than his money. No, stop lying. You love your money and power more than you'll ever love me. And if you want me to stop crying, then let me go." At my words his grasp weakened as shock took over his face. I took that chance to push away from him and run. "I am not lying and I'll never let you go." Ian shouted behind me. He wasn't going to give up easy, and for a moment a smile replaced my tears. I loved his determines and I love him. Chapter 17. Innocent. I turned into my road, finally home at last. No, my heart sank as I saw Ian's car pulled up in front of my house. He was leaning against the side of the car, his arms crossed, sending butterflies to my stomach at how the man standing in front of me could be so goddamn hot. I coughed, taking myself away from my lustful thoughts, and carried on walking to my house. I ignored Ian and walked to my front door. "Come on, Mia. Please just talk to me." He ran up to me, stopping only inches away. "Ian, why do you keep doing this? Just leave." He took another step forward, but I held up my hand, signaling for him to stop. I dug for my keys in my bag and turned to unlock my door, but I was all fingers and thumbs, prolonging the process. Ughhy. I heard Ian let out a quiet chuckle, the sound of his deep voice so irresistible. My cheeks began to heat. Turning as red as a tomato. Stop. I can't think about Ian like that. Not at a time like this. I finally opened my door and pushed it shut, but it didn't shut fully. Ian had stopped it. "What are you doing? Just let me explain. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you, then let me talk." I tried to shut the door once more, but he pushed harder, opening it wider, until it had completely swung open. His huge, sexy muscular body filled the frame and he leaned against the door frame, smiling wide in victory. I threw my hands in the air and walked to my room. "Talk all you want. I'll be in my room." I heard Ian shut and lock the front door and follow me to my room. "Hey, that wasn't an invitat." I was stopped halfway by Ian's lips on mine. His hands snaked around my waist, pulling me closer to him. My lips began to move involuntary with his damn hormones. His full lips were warm and tasted sweet like honey. Oh, how I missed this. I lifted my hands to his head, fisting his hair to push him closer to me. I need him. I needed more of him. He bit my bottom lip and I moaned, giving him full access to my mouth, as if he read my mind. I played with his tongue, our mouths and bodies moving in sync with each other, sending a shock wave through my body. This was definitely the best kiss we had shared until he pulled away harshly. No, we were breathing hard, trying to get our breaths back. He leaned down, brushing his lips against my ear. "Do you have any idea what you do to me, the power you have over me, Mia Owens?" he said as he bit on my earlobe. At his words, the muscles deep in my stomach clenched with excitement. I closed my eyes, savoring his words and the feeling it gave me. He put his fingers under my chin, caressing it softly, pulling my gaze to his. I was hypnotized by his hazel eyes that was staring into mine, so full of love and lust. He leaned down again and kissed me. Placing his firm and demanding lips on mine, he lifted my legs around his waist and walking over to my bed. He softly placed me on my bed, with his body looming over mine, our lips still connected. He moved his kisses down my chin, my jaw and my neck while he started to lift my top up and over my head, throwing it to other side of the room, followed by my bra. He knelt, one leg on either side of me, and gazed at me. Thank God I had decided to wear my matching black lace underwear. "Oh Mia," he whispered, and I could feel my cheeks burn from embarrassment. I tried to cover myself up, but he grabbed my hands, stopping me. "You're so beautiful. I want to see all of you." He placed a quick kiss on my lips before removing his top and throwing it with mine. Our lips connected once more. His kiss was demanding and needy. I moaned as his tongue playfully flicks mine. He moved his arms around me and lifts me closer to his body, skin on skin. He moved one of his hands down and gently squeezed my ass, pushing my hips onto his erection. I moan again into his mouth. He snapped the waistband of my jeans. "We need to get rid of these." I could hardly control my hormones. I wanted him so badly. He tugged on my pants, bringing my panties down with them, and they joined the rest of my discarded clothes. I was now fully naked in front of him. He took a sharp inhale as his eyes scanned every inch of my body. "You are so beautiful, Mia, and I am going to make you all mine." His words were so demanding and powerful, it was so sexy and took my breath away. He was making me so horny, so wet. I needed him in me to take the throbbing pain from in between my legs. He stood and removed a foil packet, a condom. Before slowly removed his pants, teasing me, until his erection sprung free. Wow. He was a big boy. I kept thinking, how the hell would he fit that in me? He smiled as he caught me looking at his impressive length. "Like what you see." I only licked my lips as a response. "Oh boy, do I." He growled from my response and leaned down over me, grasping both my ankles, positioning himself between my legs. I was now squirming with need, I needed him. But he continued to tease me, he leaned down and grasped my breast in one hand and sucked on the other. Nibbling the nipple making me moan, load. My nipples hardened at his touch wanting more and he complied to my unspoken order by biting down and sucking, hard again on one nipple as he rolled my other nipple with his thumb. I moaned. I couldn't take any more. Oh please. I groaned as the sweet sensation of his touch traveled down my body all the way to my groin. I am getting so wet just from the littlest touch. He lifted his head to my ear once more. Are you ready, baby? I could only manage a moan in response. He unpackaged the condom and slid it down his shaft, then positioned himself between my legs. I could feel the head of his erection on the entrance of my innocence. This was it. I was giving my everything to Ian, and I am happy it's him. He thrusted hard into me. Ah, I shouted as a strange stinging sensation tore through my virginity. He stilled, only half of his shaft in me, and gazed down at me, his eyes filled with lust. Are you all right, baby? I nodded. It was painful, but I didn't want him to stop. Not now, not ever. He proceeded to fill me. Taking a sharp breath. You so tight, I moaned as he completely filled me. Throwing my head back from the extreme pleasure. He then began to pull out slowly and thrust back in, harder, deeper. I cried and he stilled once more. Don't stop. I said between breaths. He chucked his deep and alluring laugh and continued, moving faster, causing me to moan louder, but he didn't stop. And I became used to the strange feeling, my hips instinctively began to move with his and he picked up the speed and the rhythm. I began to moan at the intense pleasure I was feeling. Come for me, baby. Ian murmured and I did. I fell apart under him, convulsing and shattering into pieces. That was extraordinary, breathtaking. After a few more thrusts, Ian joins me in the orgasm, pumping his hot liquid into me. Then he fell next to me, wrapping me in his arms, both of us fighting for our breath. This is where I should be, in Ian's protective and safe arms. I snuggled close to his warmth, burying my head in his chest, letting the tiredness engulf me. Chapter 18. Mine, Ian's POV. The morning sun hit my face as it entered the room, waking me from the most amazing dream. Oh no, please tell me that wasn't a dream. I shot my head around the room. It was small and minimalistic with just a bed, wardrobe and a desk. It was Mia's room. Thank God. I tried to sit up, but there was something around my waist, pulling me back. Mia. She was asleep, her arms wrapped around my body, her head was resting on my chest, my sleeping beauty. She looked so beautiful and relaxed, her sculptured full lips were parted slightly and a few strands of her long dirty blonde hair had fallen on her face. I laid back down, not wanting to disturb her peaceful sleep, and tucked the fallen strands behind her ear, thinking about last night and how she gave herself to me. Now she is mine. I will never let her go, never again. Her skin was so soft as our naked bodies touched. I lifted my hand and gently stroked her back whilst staring at her sleeping face. I could gaze at her all day. I turned to the clock next to her bed and it read 6:45 a.m. I don't want to move, but it is a school day. I really want to skip today and spend all my time in this house. This room. This bed with Mia. But I really wanted to go to school to show everyone that me and Mia were back together. At least then all the girls would leave me alone, but more importantly, all the guys would leave Mia alone. I slipped out of bed and shrugged on some pants. I walked into her living room, kitchen, dining room. I had never seen a house so small. I didn't even think that someone could live like this. I made my way to the kitchen and rummaged through the cupboards trying to find some food to make breakfast, but all I could see was a butter, but no bread, milk but no cereal. How can people live like this? What are you doing? I swiftly turned on my heel to find Mia leaning in the doorway. My jaw dropped as she was only wearing my top to cover herself. Oh, how she turned me on. She giggled when she noticed me checking her out, basically I raping her, and I smiled back. I pointed to the cupboards. Searching for food, which you don't have much of, by the way. Welcome to my life. She smiled and walked over to me, placing her lips softly on mine. What was that for? I asked in shock but with a wicked smile on my face. It's unusual for Mia to kiss me first, but when it does happen it makes me so happy because it shows me that she loves me as much as I love her. Thank you for last night, she whispered before connecting our lips once more. If you re that grateful, then let's do it again. I jokingly lifted her over my shoulder and slapped her on her ass, making her giggle so seductively. No, we need to get ready for school. She screeched between the laughter. I placed her down on the kitchen counter, standing between her legs and pressing my bare stomach against her naked, warm pussy. It was making my cock twitch and push against my zipper, wanting to be freed. Don T or we one T be able to stop. She was breathing heavily, her want of me obvious in her voice. How was I supposed to stop if everything she does turns me on? She pushed me away and ran into her bedroom laughing. I followed her in. Hey. That doesn't mean we re going to have sex. I am getting ready. She shouted amused at my determination. I groaned, wanting to be inside her. While my thoughts were elsewhere, she took that opportunity to run into the bathroom and lock the door behind her. I banged on the door, but all I could hear was her laughing at me in victory. Oh, I am going to get her back. Asterisk asterisk asterisk, Mia SPOV. Ah. Finally, it's last period, and I have none other than PE. What a great way to end the day. It's also the only lesson I am with Sam, so we use it to catch up. Even though I love sports. I sit it out most times to talk with Sam because Sam is the worst at every and any sport. I walked into the changing rooms and saw Sam already there. "Hi, Sam," I shouted, and she turned, with confusion on her face. "Why are you so happy all of sudden?" "Oh yeah, she mustn't know about me and Ian yet." "Well, me and Ian, made up." She looked me up and down, raising an eyebrow, then she gasped and covered her mouth. She raised a hand and pointed at me. You did it with Ian," she announced. Now every girl in the changing room turned their attention to me, burning me with their hateful gazes. I rushed to Sam and covered her mouth with my hands. "What? No," I pretended to act dumb so I wouldn't get murdered by every girl in the USA. "Shut up. Do you want me to die?" I shouted down her ear so only she could hear and slowly removed my hands from her mouth. I stepped away, but she remained frozen. Her mouth was wide open from shock, yet humor danced in her eyes. She pushed her lips into a straight line, trying to hide the smile. Why, she screamed in excitement. "Wait, what? Dawn T, you know how much I wanted you and Ian to work out. You've been giving each other lovey-dovey stares even before you admitted it to yourselves that you loved one another, and know you re together and bonded, in more ways than one." She winked at me and I blushed, turning the color of a tomato. Sam calmed down after begging for all the dirty details, and we got dressed and made our way outside. We were playing basketball, a sport I didn't mind skipping, so me and Sam sat on the benches at the side. "Sam, you've known Ian for a long time." She turned to me, curious over where this was leading. "Yes, why?" "Well, where are his parents?" "I've never seen them around his house. I don't know if I should tell you, if Ian hasn't already." Her lack of answer really intrigued me. Could it really be that bad? "Please, Sam. I want to know." "Well, when he was 5 his mother passed away." "What? Oh no, now I feel so bad. Maybe I should have waited till Ian had told me himself." Sam continued. "She had cancer, and her father flew her all around the world to try and get her treated by the best doctors, but I guess money can buy you everything." I looked down at my knotted fingers, and I thought my past was sad. "And his father?" I didn't want to ask. I didn't want to pry any further, but I didn't stop myself. "He's your cliché rich man. He's hardly ever home because he's on many business trips, and when he does come home he treats Ian like another one of his businessmen and teaches Ian about the family business by dragging him to many meetings. Oh, so he's a man that puts his work before family. I hate people like that. Next time I see Ian, I am just going to hug him so tight." No wonder he thought he could solve my problem with money. That's what he was brought up with. "I am so sorry, Ian." "That's so," was all I could manage as I felt the pain of tears threatening to fall. "I know," Sam replied, knowing exactly what I meant. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Lesson ended and Ian met up with me outside the changing rooms. I ran over to him and jumped into his arms, wrapping my legs around his waist. "Well, hello to you too." He laughed whilst lifting his arms and tying them around me for support. "I am sorry," I whispered into his ear. "I am sorry for everything." I began to cry, but not for me, but for the pain I felt for Ian, for the horrible childhood he had. Shish, Don T. Cry baby. What wrong? Ian sounded worried, bringing more tears to my eyes. How can he be so loving, so caring when he was shown none of that when he was brought up? Nothing. I just love you so much. Ian tightened his hold on me, pushing me closer to his hard chest. I love you too. Chapter 19. Meeting Mother. 1 week later, Mia's POV. It had already been a week since me and Ian had made up. I had told my mother all about Ian and thought it was time she met him. Would you stop faffing around? I shouted at my mum as she ran around the house trying to clean and neaten the place up more. Even though it's impossible to clean any more as she had spent the whole night and morning cleaning. My mum had even got the day off work. Which was surprising as Saturdays were her busiest days. I can stop love, it's the first time he'll be here and I want to make a good impression. Oh yeah. I Haven T told her that he has already been here before, that he has spent the night, but I think I'll save that information for later, much later in life. Ding dong. The doorbell rang and In frantically ran for the door to get there before my mother. I swung the door open, revealing the magnificent, godlike Ian. His 6'4" muscular body filled the door frame. I leaned into his body, wrapping my arms around his neck, standing on my tiptoes so that my mouth could reach his ear. My mum doesn't know that you've spent the night play along. I whispered in his ears. I pulled away to find an amused smile spreading on his face. It scared and excited me, like I was going to have to owe him for lying. Hello. I am Laura Owens, Mia's mother. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. My mum stretched out her hand to greet Ian. Ian took her hand. The pleasure is all mine. Who is this man? I scoffed. He has never acted this nicely around me. Although I was grateful because his fake gentleman behavior gave me the creeps. This way I cut in as my mother was beginning to check Ian out. Oh, behave, mother. I guided Ian to our kitchen and sat him on our small 4-placing table in between me and my mother. Asterisk. That was delicious. Thank you, Mrs. Owens. Please, call me Laura. And you most welcome. My mother smiled brightly at the compliment as she took our plates away. Oh Mia, love, could you go get me some more ice from the garage? Sure. I walked out the kitchen and to the back door when I felt Ian grab my hand and pull me in the opposite direction. What are you doing? I quickly turned my head to the direction of my mother, but she had her back to us washing the dishes. Thank God. Shish, Ian whispered as he pulled me into my bedroom. He shut the door. And before I could question him he had his lips on mine. It felt so exciting making out while my mother was in the next room. Ian pushed me against the wall and instinctively I wrapped my legs around his waist, pushing his hard cock against my wet pussy, lusting for him. He started to rock his shaft against me and I let out a moan from desire which gave him access to go deeper into my mouth. He expertly exploring my mouth, our tongues stroking and playing with each other. He tasted so sweet. I wanted him, he wanted me. Here. Now, no, not here, I whispered through my heavy breaths. I want to do this, but not when my mother is only inches away. I tried to push him away, but before I knew it he had both of my hands in one of his above my head, his other slowly making its way down my body. He guided his hand teasingly over my now oversensitive breast and down to my throbbing pussy that was screaming for his touch. He teasing pulled his hand back up and my breast, pulling and flicking my nipple over the fabric of my dress. I needed him. Please, I gasped, begging. My body was starting to quiver from the pleasurable pain between my legs. I could feel his smile as he kisses me. He was enjoying the power he had over me. He slid his hand back down and into my panties only inches away. Say my name. He stilled his movement and leaned down and kisses me. Ian, I moan and he pushes 2 fingers into me, slowly and tantalizingly moving them in and out. But I was too hungry for him to play his tricks, so I began to move my hips and push down on him, needing release. Please, I cried. You so wet. I could just leave you like this. Ian smiled his wicked smile. No please Don T. Now it's time, I teased him into give me what I want. I try to push against the restraints of his hand so I can pleasure myself. I was getting so worked up and I needed release. I leaned into him, my lips brushing against his ear. I bit down on his earlobe then seductively licked it. Please Ian, his breath was hot against my neck as I felt the smile spread across his face, and his thumb relentlessly began to circle my clitoris and his inserted fingers picked up speed. I moaned, loud, but muzzled my face into Ian to try and mute the sound that uncontrollably left me. I can't let my mother hear, but knowing someone was right next to us turned me on more. He continued the rhythmical movement inside me, my legs began to stiffen and I push against my restraints. I am so close to the edge, come for me baby. Ian commanded in my ear and that was all my body needed. I convulse around him as I climax, one of the most extreme orgasms I had ever had. I shatter into a million pieces and Ian stills his tantalizing movements and pulls from me, lifting my limp body into his arms. I was spent. Panting heavily. I looked up to see Ian looking deeply into my eyes. His hazel eyes full of lust and love. Damn how much I love this man. We sorted ourselves out before exiting my bedroom. I rubbed my sore wrist from faint hand impression left from Ian's restraining. He smirked down at me, his hand at the small of my back as he led us back into the kitchen. Where's the ice honey? Oh crap, I forgot the ice. But it was for a good reason, one I would love to repeat. I flush as I think about what I've just done and smile shyly. Oh sorry, I got sidetracked, and I quickly ran out the room giggling. Chapter 20. Hotel, Ian's POV. I really love Tuesday after school because I have football practice and so does Mia. I get to look at her run around, bouncing her lush big breast and getting all sweaty. I also love the concentration on her face as she plays then the jaw-dropping smile and little victory dance when she scores a touchdown. I could watch her all day, but when I do, even for a moment I start to go hard. Everyone gather. Coach Scott boomed through the speaker, getting my football team's and Mia's attention. I ran over to him in the middle of the huge field and met up with Mia. Not having her in my arms. Not having her warmth fill me and comfort me. I felt lost. I wrapped my arms around her waist and pulled her close to me, protecting her from the many stares of the guys. I stare back at them until they quiver in their shoes and quickly snap their heads away. Scott was not in the greatest shape, considering he was a sports teacher. He was balding in the middle, with hair only on the sides of his head, and I think it is because of his looks that he has been getting angrier and angrier when he talked to people. Okay, hush down. Scott shouted, silencing the crowd before he continued. The playoffs are in a couple of weeks and it has officially been announced that we will be facing Oakland High School and it'll be in their home grounds. The crowd moaned there's less chance of winning when you re on the opponent's turf because you don't have as much of the crowd supporting your team because of the distance, but I have faith in our team. We'll crush them. So get your guardians to sign these because we'll be staying overnight in a hotel, so bring a check of $150 for the hotel room by Friday, latest. At the mention of money, I could feel Mia tense beneath me and instinctively my hold on her tightened. I wanted to help her out, but I don't want a repeat of last time by throwing my money at her. I want to help, but I also have to tread lightly because I promised myself I would never let Mia cry over something I did. I leaned down, resting my chin on her shoulder and brushed my lips on her ear. I have a great idea, from my sudden contact. Mia jumped but soon relaxed and leaned into me. And what would that be? A curious smile stretched across her flawless face. Just when I think it's impossible for her to become more beautiful. How about we get a room with a double bed? This benefits us both. Mia wouldn't have to pay and I will get to snuggle into my Mia all night. Why Ian, if I didn't know you any better I would think you trying to have your way with me. She giggled as she tried to act innocent, bringing an even bigger smile to my face. Oh, Miss Owens, I am hurt that you would think I would do such a thing. We both burst out into laughter. But on one condition. Mia suddenly went serious and turned to face me. We split the bill. She really was stubborn, but that just added to her charm because it is the first time a girl loved me for me and not because of my money. I exhaled. No need to worry, my family own the hotel so it's free anyway. I looked away, not sure of how she would take it, if she would accept my offer. She surprised me by gently placing her hands on my cheeks, guiding my eyes back to her intense loving gaze. Sounds great, she whispered, then softly placed her lips on mine. It made me so happy that she's letting me look after her, caring for her for once. I pulled her closer to my chest, trying to close the space between us. I hated being apart from her. I love you too, oh, and since I had the pleasure of meeting your mom. I would like you to meet my father. He is coming back from his business trip from China for a week and I thought he would like to meet my girl. I am worried over how my father will react to Mia being poor, but maybe now he will stop forcing me to go on dates with rich daughters of his business partners. I can't wait to meet him, and wait so I am you girl now. The corners of Mia's lips curled as she tried to maintain a straight face, but was failing miserably. I kissed her roughly on her full, sweet lips. Yes, mine. I felt her hot breath on my lips from the little chuckle that escaped her mouth, causing a twitch in my pants. UGHH. I need her. Chapter 21. The father figure. Mia's POV. My father said he'll be here in 10 minutes. Ian walked over to me and pulled me off his couch and lifted into his arms. And have I told you how amazing you look?